I watched a video the other day that dealt with why you shouldn't buy the knockoff, cheaper accessories. And I agree and I disagree. I'll explain that in a little bit. Stay tuned. Guys and gals, like what you're seeing? This is Old Guy Riding. If you like what you're seeing, please give me a like. Better yet, subscribe. It's free, and I'd certainly appreciate it. Back to the show. Hey guys, Old Guy Riding here. And like I mentioned earlier, I watched a video that had to do with why you shouldn't buy the cheaper knockoff accessories. And I said I agree and I disagree. I agree that if you've done modifications before and you have a similar bike that you want to modify now, that yes, you should know the modifications that you want. You should know how well they'll look. So if you can afford to, by all means, get those high quality accessories. However, I disagree in the fact that maybe you spend more on the bike than you had first anticipated. And you really, at the moment, can't afford the high quality accessories. In the meantime, you might want to go with a knockoff just to see how it looks. If you're new to modifying your bike, I would suggest that you do go with the cheaper knockoffs. Maybe you don't know what kind of bar end mirrors that you want. Personally, I like the round lane splitter that I can fold in. You may want something different. You may want the arrow shape. You may want, like the Del Prado, the piece that extends up and then out. Or I guess you could extend it down and out. Maybe that's the one you want. But until you're sure, why spend big bucks on accessories that you're really not sure are going to fit you or your bike? Now you might notice I have upgraded yet again my windscreen. Reason being, it's getting to be that time of year where I will be getting on the highway a bit more. And I wanted something that would give me a little bit more protection. Granted, it's a naked bike. You're not going to get the protection that you would if you had a cruiser, or if you had an adventure bike, or if you had a sport bike. They'll cut through the air a whole lot better. But I wanted something that would do the best out of all the options that I had. I did some reading, I did some research, I looked at a lot of data, and the Puig seems to be the best as far as cutting through the air. I have a knockoff of the Del Prado. And the reason I got that is I wanted to mount my camera right here. And with the Del Prado knockoff, it's very easy to put a GoPro mount right there and mount the camera facing back. I have since found this mount here for the camera. Now granted, it was supposed to come with its own 10mm bolt, but it didn't. So I'm going to have to get to the hardware store and get one of those. In the meantime, I'm using the old rear view mirror bolt, this is all like one piece. But it works, and it'll suffice in the meantime. Your frame sliders should be good, solid frame sliders. Some are more expensive than others. with my MT-07, I had Shogun frame sliders, and I low-sided on this side, and they protected my bike fairly well. The only place I had damage was to the underside of the crankcase, which is going to hit first if you low side on that side. There's nothing that the frame slider could have done about that. But it did save a lot of area within the frame and the bike. So I was happy about that. So should you buy the best parts available? It's really up to you. I think Yamiyari said that you shouldn't buy the cheap parts because maybe they'll break down and you'll end up replacing them in a year. Well, so what? I could buy 7 or 8 of those Del Prado knockoff windscreens and still be ahead of the game as far as money is concerned when it came to the actual Del Prado. And the one I have doesn't look bad at all. It still functions well. I would still have it on there if spring weren't here and I weren't getting ready to go onto the highway. I'm not knocking Del Prado. They make a really good windscreen. I just think it's overpriced. I mean, you're paying $240 for a piece of aluminum. Aircraft aluminum, but aluminum. And it will hold up, and it will look good. Some people are going to say, well, you know, it's coming from Italy, dude. Well, this came from Italy also. And it ran me $161 and some change total. So, again, do you go with the cheap knockoffs? Do you buy the high quality? It really depends on the circumstances that face you at the time. If you can't afford to get some of the high-end stuff, if you don't mind not having any accessories until you save up to get the good stuff, then that's great. If you want something but you're not sure how it's going to look, definitely get the cheaper knockoffs. That's the way to go. If you're unsure of how it's going to look and how it's going to perform, go with cheap knockoffs. At least you'll get an idea. And then if you decide, well, this really isn't for me, then no harm done. But if you go for the good stuff and decide, well, I'm really not happy with the way this is, well, then you're a little screwed out of a couple of $300 perhaps, maybe more. So that's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Don't base your judgment on what I say or what anybody else says. Do the right thing and research the product. See which one fits your needs and then make a decision based on that. So good luck to you. If this has helped, that's great. If not, sorry I wasted your time. I'm going to get back on the road and enjoy myself. See ya.